And we're lucky. I mean, we were lucky because we've been able to go to school. Our administration did a great job over the summer handling this and got us prepared to be back in school. Our athletic director, Anna Perlman, did a great job communicating with us throughout the summer. I'm sure she was ready to kill me at times throughout the summer, but did a great job. I thought a big piece of it was being honest with us up front, with me up front, and saying, hey, this doesn't look great, right? And it never was about football, right? It was always about this is the safety of the kids, the safety of the coaches, and so I felt like we were at an advantage because we didn't practice, right? We didn't hold Zoom meetings all summer. I found that those kids were kind of worn out by the time they'd gotten through the summer. Our kids got back in here. They're raring to go. They're ready to follow every protocol that we gave them. And now they're just out here. They're hungry, and they got the best gift of all, right? They might have an opportunity to be able to play in the winter.
What was your mindset? Once you found out there would be no fall football, how did you and your team handle that news? And then on top of that, the possibility that we could have football in the spring or late winter.
So these guys were amazing. Our parents have been amazing. Again, to see the level of just the level of their ability to grasp what was going on in the world, that it was much bigger than them. I didn't hear one of the seniors complain about not having recruiting visits. And we have a couple of those kids, right? Sean Riley's got some offers, and we've got some other kids who really would have benefited from getting out. Walker Ferguson and Daniel Isaac, those seniors would have really benefited from getting out and getting on tour, this summer. But I never heard anything, right? Because they understood that this was much larger than them. And so from that standpoint, that's how I've always felt about it, right? This is much bigger than Sam Mickens. This is much bigger than Trinity. So we were fine with it. Obviously, as we got closer to the season and it started to feel more like football season, yeah, you feel that. Of course it hurts. But again, people dying, people in much worse situations than we are. So we're very thankful to not have that hit our community, to not have that hit our football family directly. So from that standpoint, we were okay.
We kind of talked a couple of weeks ago about, I guess, how your excitement level, where it was at the end of the season, going back to the playoffs for the first time since y'all moved up in division. And I guess I'm curious about, had it changed with the fact that there was no fall football because of what you were excited about, or is it basically level based on the fact that there is still a chance to play football in the late winter?
Yeah, so my feelings, we're very excited, of course. I'm still excited about this group that I have coming through, but I was more disappointed for them because they had done everything right. So we said go in the weight room, they got in the weight room. We said be unselfish, they're unselfish. We said, basically follow the process, as everyone wants to call it a process. Well, these kids follow the process. They took their lumps, right? We went over to Benedictine and faced a better team twice last year. So they were kind of forged in fire, right, under pressure. And so we walked out of that game. And I could tell looking in those kids' eyes, right? They weren't babies anymore, right? They weren't these freshmen and sophomores. They were going to be, juniors and seniors, and not one day did they rest on their laurels, right? They did everything that they were supposed to do leading into the season to give themselves the best opportunity to be the best player that they could be. And again, I think that starts at the top. That starts with our administration, comes down through our athletic director, and then that's poured into us. And so we try to pour that into our kids. So I'm so excited about the team and the culture of this team as much as anything. You've been around me for some years. The culture of this team is fun to be around. These guys love competing. They love competing for one another. And so that's what you feel when you're out here.
I know. What was the message you gave to your team to keep them mentally focused, mentally sharp, and upbeat during this process?
I just kept telling these guys that it's bigger than football. So really, when we spoke, a lot of this didn't have anything to do with football. to be honest with you, everything that was happening, you're talking about the civil rights movement that's happening. Our team came closer together, right? And so those were the conversations being had by these teammates, right? Am I my brother's keeper, is the saying that we were using. So check in on your brother. That's what I told these guys, right? Don't just assume that your brother is okay. Check in on your brother, and that's what those guys did. And it wasn't about football.